Rolling.
I'm so high, I can hear heaven. I'm so high, let's get tacos at 7. Dick, what up?
Those are the real words, right? Tacos at 7. We're doing that.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely think I could have a second career as a much dirtier Weird Al Yankovic. Shut up and suck my D. This woman's my destiny. I said, ooh, shut up and suck my D. Or how about...
Are these originals right now that you're dropping on us?
Or how about... The X's and the O's, they wanna fuck me, but all I let them do is suck me. Yeah, how do you like that?
I don't know. You might become the most hated one-man band in America.
I might be the most hated parody band in America.
There you go. Parody band, that's what it is.
There it is. Well, it's better than being the most hated band in the world, like Nickelback, which is the subject of this week's episode.
Can I just say, is it that bad? I mean, if you're going to be hated, you might as well just be the most hated throughout the whole world. Like, that's kind of nailing it.
That's an accomplishment, right? It's
That
better
is,
than
I
being
would
hated
say.
like Creed. Like, everybody hates Creed, but nobody goes
But
out
you
of their
weren't-
way to hate Creed.
Right. Like,
yeah.
if you're going to look up hate for Creed, it's going to be like, why does everyone hate Nickelback? Oh, yeah, and Creed.
Yeah. They're like the same reason they hate
Sorry,
Creed, but it's just we hate Nickelback more because there's a bigger repertoire. They've managed to stay
Throughout the
relevant.
whole world. How does that happen that you become the most hated band in the world?
Well,
How does that happen?
I'm definitely going to say that South Park has a little bit to do with it, with their whole blame Canada mantra, but we can explore that a little bit more later. If anybody cares to react to anything they hear in this week's episode or just cares to be notified when we drop new content, you may follow us on Twitter at CTS Terry or at I'm Dick Francisco, or on Instagram at The Dick Francisco, or by searching for the Catch the Sky podcast. You may also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the whole nine. Weekly episodes drop every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and usually earlier on the gram, so be sure to follow us there for those new releases and more.
You know what else you can find in those places?
What's that?
Nickelback.
Oh, Nickelback. Yeah, Nickelback's everywhere. Nickelback. So my first exposure to Nickelback would have been the song Hero from Spider-Man. Right? The end credits. And
Yep.
that's
I'm
the
familiar.
song that I was opening the show with just a moment ago. And so I thought they were just this.
Were they hated yet at that time?
No, they were just
Okay.
making popular music. I don't understand why everybody hates them. So let's start there. How'd that happen? Why does everybody hate them? Is it just because it's all just manufactured rock, pop?
Let me take you back a little bit, because
Pop rocks?
I'm probably even more confused than you are then. Because I
The listeners don't
as
like
a
that.
young lad growing up in northern Minnesota, I'll take us back to November 7th, 2001. So over 20 years ago now, in a small theater called the North Shore Theater in downtown Duluth, Minnesota. There was about 200 people, generally all older than me because I wasn't old enough to be there, but I was there nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
And came through a back door in the alley. I remember that fondly, into the mezzanine level. Nonetheless, went into this theater, and the band playing that night was Nickelback. And Nickelback wasn't big at this point.
It doesn't sound
Not
like
big
it.
enough to, I mean, there was only a few hundred of us max in there. So much so that the legitimacy of this rock band playing in front of me as a young person, it did not strike me that this would be a band that would go on to sell more than 50 million albums worldwide and be
Right. You
I
thought
think
you were
only
seeing like Hoobastank.
Yeah, and
Or
at that
Sugar
time
Ray.
we really were, because the music they were putting out hadn't quite been deemed, so hateable yet. And
No,
I
but you were right on
recall,
the cusp, if not getting
oh yeah, I
How
I
You
wasn't on
Remind
the
Me.
cusp. I wasn't on the cusp. I was in the mosh pit.
Oh.
The girl,
I was
the
talking
girl
about just the
next to
music you
me.
were hearing.
Oh, I know, but I'm going to tell you about what happened then. I'm going to bring it back to why I can't hate Nickelback, because it all started in that mosh pit first. And the girl next to me, I remember her getting a cigarette butt put out on her forehead. It was
Nice.
super memorable. Yeah.
So she's got a scar on her forehead like I do.
Yeah, so she's basically got a Nickelback scar on her front, which, when we use that term mushroom stamp, I'll get to that because that is themed to Nickelback here in a second.
Fantastic.
And then up on stage, because again, this wasn't a major production in that respect, it was just in this small theater. Off on the left, where like there were some monitors and like speakers stacked, two people just flat out started having sex on stage and continued to have sex while Nickelback played. And so this really created a fondness to me for this Canadian rock band that I was like, oh,
yeah, what the fuck
this
is
must
going
be what
on?
this must be what Canadian rock music is all about.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And so
Because my definition of Canadian rock music is like Sum 41. Like I've got Sum 41, and then you've got
that's because you're a baby.
and
Nickelback.
I've got arguably way more intense things are happening at Nickelback concerts.
And that's why I always felt bad for them, because I was like, you people don't even know. You have suggested their cookie cutter post-grunge manufactured music, which is what everybody says is why they hate them. But I was like, no, y'all, I was in a Nickelback mosh pit watching people have sex on speakers on stage while the girl next to me got a cigarette put out on her forehead while the song Leader of Men played, which most people don't even know that song. And I was like, these guys are legit. I had to eventually stop saying that because, as the internet has reminded me, liking Nickelback is akin to hating kittens and puppies. So I usually keep these stories to myself, but guys, I'm telling you all, you don't even know about the Nickelback before they were so hateable.
Do you think people are still having sex at Nickelback concerts?
No, that's really where I think the turn took. So you were asking that question, when did they become hateable? And I'm just going to suggest that there's a correlation there of when people weren't allowed to have sex on the stage while Nickelback was performing is probably around the same time they became really hateable.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably
Yep.
around the time that the Blame Canada thing started up too. It was probably around the same time, because they did Bigger, Longer, and Uncut after their second season. Two seasons in, they just fucking went for it.
Right.
But the song Blame Canada from that movie was actually nominated at the Academy Awards for Best Original Song, but they lost to Phil Collins, who they then made fun of in a later episode. Needless to say, hatred for Canada was in the air. And so, getting back to Nickelback, How You Remind Me, was that played at that concert?
Yeah, so here's the really interesting thing about that. How You Remind Me.
That would have been around that time.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though, is that song came out. I'll take it a step back. They had a studio album that was, it was an independently released album called The State. And they re-released that in 1999. And this was still like legit Nickelback. And so that was a lot of what they were playing at that concert. It was in 2001 that they released How You Remind Me. And so when we saw them, they were just suddenly starting to be like, whoa, who's this band that just had like a #1 hit? Mm-hmm. So nobody knew, because it was about 4 or 5 years later that all of a sudden they had like, I don't know, 10 freaking singles or 20 singles or whatever it was on the Billboard, Top 100 or whatever. And like we can name them all because we know them all, and they all sound the same, right? That's that manufactured sound thing. But I was really trying to dig into this of like what's so hateable about them. And I think some of what I have heard from the internet has a lot to do with also their timing, which isn't their fault because there's a lot of manufactured music. We brought Creed into the picture, and you could name a bunch of bands that sound the same. But it really did come like right after Kurt Cobain died, and that like post-grunge thing, almost like they were taking advantage of. Meanwhile, while Kurt Cobain is dying, we're going to slip in there with our post-grunge sound that all of our songs are going to sound the same and be just edgy enough for people to have sex on stage. Because that was the greatest thing ever to me. Like, I'm listening to the song Leader of Men. I'm like, do you all know that when the song was written, they were, like, tripping on shrooms and magic mushrooms? And, like, that was edgy. You know, like Canadians, I swear.
Now, did they play How You Remind Me at that show?
They did.
And did they play Hero?
No, I don't think Hero would have even been a thing. Was Hero a thing yet?
Yeah, Spider-Man came out in 2000. Wasn't that 2001 or 2002? 2001. It had to have been 2001. It was 2001
that song
because
was 2003.
Hero?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No.
The internet just told me that.
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
Okay, it was recorded in March 2001, released in March 2002, and the internet is saying it was generally 2003 that the world was hearing it.
What
That's
year?
That's when it won the best rock song at the 45th Grammy Awards.
Hero?
Yeah.
What? Well, what year did Spider-Man come out?
Oh, I don't know. All I'm saying is the song was recorded in March 2001 and it wasn't released until March 2002. So on November 7th, 2001, I would not have heard that song.
Oh, okay. All right. You said, all right. So 2000. Okay. All right. Yeah. That all adds up.
And then it won the Grammy in 2003.
Got you.
So, I mean,
Yeah, because it was at the end of Spider-Man. It was at the end of Spider-Man in 2002.
What's insane about this
Got it.
is like that amount of hateability that can just like manifest about one group. And really, I think that Nickelback is just owning it for a lot of bands, right? So they're the most popular, which is the craziest thing. Their ability to sell out arenas and stadiums. What did I hear? They were the second best selling act in, like, they're one of the biggest, selling acts in the world. But in the United States, like, other than the Beatles as a foreign group, that might not be true anymore. Maybe the Biebs has taken over. But, like, this was in 2020 that I was reading, like, this article. I mean, I was reading it now, but it's from 2020. Nonetheless.
Sorry. I think haters.
Sorry, I didn't know if we needed to place this for the archives.
Oh, yeah. For the archives, it is September 7th, going on September 8th, but September 7th.
So crazy. This article right here says, it's as if the band is stuck in a time capsule in the year 2001, and with every song, they are reliving the same moment. That's exactly why I'm not minding it, because on November 7th, 2001, I had the greatest, most intimate Nickelback experience ever. So let me keep reliving that.
Right.
Everyone else can suck it.
Right.
So literally only for those 200 of us that were in that theater that night are we all going, what's wrong with Nickelback? 2001 was great. But that seems to be the situation.
Well, what a funny coincidence that How You Remind Me came out that year, right?
Oh my God, right? But like legit, we were just listening to quite a few of those singles and they did all sound generally the same.
Hang on. This is the thing, all right? So everybody wants to go ahead and, yes, they do sound the same, but everybody hates Nickelback. And then you start to like rattle off how many songs there are. It's like... Oh, yeah. Is this just a case of haters want to hate? Like, they just hate them because they're successful. Yeah. How You Remind Me. We've brought that up 1,000 times. Hero, right? How about Far Away? Far Away. Yeah. Rockstar. Saving Me. Photograph. Everybody hates Photograph. If Today Was Your Last Day. Someday.
Yeah.
Animals.
Yeah. And on and on and on and on. Like, behind the Beatles, like I said, they are the second biggest selling foreign act in the United States in the 2000s.
Feeling way too damn good.
Which means we love to hate them. right?
Yeah.
Is that not the definition of a scapegoat? We love to hate them. How are they still selling out stadiums decades later?
No idea.
Right?
No idea.
Because people are buying those tickets. They ain't buying them for themselves.
It was the same way for Elvis. In fact, his manager actually sold I Hate Elvis buttons to profit off of the hate. But Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's just astounding. Yeah, they let's be honest. You like one or two of the songs on the list that I just rattled off.
That's what I think that's what it is, T, right?
Everybody.
If we're all alone in here. As soon as I put on Hero and I hadn't listened to it in forever, I'm over here like singing along to it. And I was like, oh my God, Leader of Men. Yeah. And we can be like, this is the worst music ever. But if you are alone in your car and a Nickelback song comes on, you are 100% singing along to it.
Exactly. Anybody
and anyone who says they don't lies.
Exactly.
Lies.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh no. I know.
I'm about to go sit in my car right now and just do it because I'm not even driving anywhere.
Right. Spider-Man.
I think it would feel good.
That's all you need is Spider-Man. And this helped arguably perpetuate the Spider-Man franchise. You said that one song of the year, like this is a big deal.
Oh yeah.
You know? Yeah. And that was the song that rolled at the end credits.
Yeah, it was nominated for Best Song Written for a Motion Picture. They were nominated for Best Rock Performance or Duo and Best Rock Song. Let me confirm that they actually won that. I do know that they were they were nominated for it. I'm gonna just need to fact check myself on that.
And while you fact check that, let me remind you that Avril Lavigne, also Canadian, was married to Chad Kroeger at one point. And then also married to Derek Wembley from Sum 41, bringing them back into this. Like she's just got a thing for Canadian musicians. Like she can't get outside the box. Let's see if Mod Sun's Canadian too, because that's her latest fucking squeeze.
I thought you were gonna try to do the whole like Avril Lavigne is the Canadian version of the Kardashians that they did with athletes. Every time a Kardashian got with an athlete, then they started to suck and everyone hated them.
Jesus Christ.
Like Avril Lavigne's covering all of Canada for us. I love it.
And Mod Sun's not Canadian, but he's from Minnesota, so...
It's the same thing. I get to say that. I'm Minnesotan, so I get to say that.
I was going to say, we've got a resident in Minnesota, so...
It's allowed. It's the same thing.
Oh, God, that's hilarious. From Bloomington. How far north is that?
Oh, no, that's super south. That's south of the Twin Cities.
Gotcha.
So Minneapolis.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I feel like I might have lied about Nickelback winning the best rock song.
Oh.
But let's just be clear, they should have. Okay,
well,
they were at least nominated.
And
again,
they're
they
in the
would
game.
have, but they were hated already.
They're in the game, right? Already. Exactly.
And that's not their fault, you know? That's not their fault. I think that's where I was starting to explore this with you, right, T? It's not really about Nickelback. It's really about us having to reflect on ourselves and go, God, we really like picking a scapegoat and an easy one at that.
Haters
Somebody
gonna hate.
so hateable.
Haters gonna hate.
And we love to pick that one that we love to hate. Arguably,
they hate me because they hate me.
You and me are those people.
Exactly.
Right?
They hate me.
I feel like, yes.
He hate me because he hate me.
We can relate to the hate for Nickelback.
Absolutely.
Where people love to hate us.
Oh, yeah.
Why do we make such good scapegoats? What do you think that is? What is like the formula for a good scapegoat?
People know that we don't give a fuck, so they can just say whatever. Mm-hmm. And they know that we'll just move on with our lives easier than other individuals, that they have fragile relationships that they're trying to maintain. So
I think it's that perseverance thing.
Yeah, so they don't want to go after strong individuals because strong individuals will either rip them to shreds or abandon them. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
right.
I think we're the perfect combination because
continuing to succeed. We'll continue to succeed.
You want something that's sustainably hateable too. Like you can keep hating us and we'll keep moving forward, like Nickelback.
Exactly.
And so that you have something stable to always be like, well, that's an easy one to hate. And then, and I think it's that love for hating too, because at the end of the day, secretly they still like us too, right? Just like secretly we all still like Nickelback. Not so secretly on my part. And then I also think that really nice hair. I think that plays in. I mean, Chad Kroeger, he's got some locks, you know. Remember when he did the frosted tips? Yeah, I think that made him extra hateable.
Oh, big time. Big time.
But yeah, T, I'd say all three of us, you know, have some enviable hair when we want to, you know?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I took my most recent driver's license photo, and I'll tell you, I am getting old. Definitely less hair than previous ones, but I've also been doing the whole shaving it a lot. So there's that I'm still getting used to. And yeah, I haven't just let it go for a while. So maybe that'll be my winter project.
I feel like Chad Kroeger has the same winter project as you.
We're just going to grow our hair out. I'm with you, Chad.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
We're all with you, Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we were also talking about, you know, this concept of most hateable and understanding, okay, Nickelback, you're super hated because, you know, over time, you just keep making the same music. It's formulaic, even though so much music is. And like, you're just easy to hate for that instead of hating, I don't know what, Justin Bieber. That's just too easy as a Canadian. And so like all of this formulated music, I get it. Totally. That's why we listen to it. It sucks into our brain. It's the same thing that why social media works and why our brains are so easy to hack into. Got it. Nickelback has hacked our brains. I can appreciate it. So I started looking at those most hated bands in the world, right? The world. Every single list, Nickelback wins, right? Constantly. They're always number one.
U2 definitely has a special place in my heart.
Who else do you think lands on there? Yes.
Well, everybody, people don't forget.
Number 2 and number 3 is always a toss-up, and U2 is one of them.
Well,
and
because
you
people don't
one.
forget. Let me just say, U2, everybody knows why, right? Everybody of a certain age knows why, right?
Yeah. Let it out there. Get it off your chest.
You just got like a new iPhone and you go to the music section and there's just a YouTube album. What the fuck is this? Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing here? And I'm pretty sure, like, if I recall correctly, like, you couldn't delete it or anything. It was just always there. It was just there. You couldn't get rid of it. Like
as a non-iPhone user, that is the horror stories that I have heard from iPhone users is that it is impossible to delete.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one thing that I remember.
Make you the most hated band in the world.
Exactly. Yeah, that right there. That's like, why they have a special.
Nickelback,
yeah.
You beat that.
Yeah. Hello. Fuck that. Hello. That's what you fucking got, and you couldn't get rid of it.
Okay, so now here's the question, everybody. Would you rather hear that every time you went to your music section on your phone, that app, or a little bit of Nickelback?
Tell me how we end up like this.
You can't see me, but I got 2 hands up for Nickelback over here.
Right. We got paws up for Nickelback in this room.
I got paws up for Nickelback. Okay, so obviously that 2 and 3 spot on the most hated bands is U2 and Creed.
Oh, you gave it away. You gave it away.
You already said Creed.
Oh, okay. I mean, I said them earlier. We already
talked about how Creed wasn't even like good enough to like.
Well, they just suck.
Okay, you made 3rd.
Yeah, exactly. You suck at sucking. Like, that's not even fun. Like, you're just pathetic at that point. Like, if you're going to suck, like, go all out.
There's a term I found online called creediocre instead of mediocre.
Oh, my God.
That's not bad.
That's pretty funny. The dude that was the front man from Creed, though, he, like, went crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure he thought that, like, people were following him and stuff, and he was living out of his car at one point. Like, it was not a good thing.
Do we call that schizophrenia?
Yeah, it was bad. Kind of like the dude that I met in episode 6, the parking lot conspiracy theorist, one of them.
Oh, yeah.
That thought every fucking, you want to talk throwback. I cannot believe We're on fucking 121 episodes. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
Can you believe?
That's crazy.
And can you believe this? How about this? I didn't mention this in our last episode, but you also weren't on the last episode.
True.
Do you remember what your first episode with us was?
Oh, gosh. Why do I want to say it was like 20?
Yes, 20.
20.
Dick, this is episode 121.
That's almost as many award-winning singles as Nickelback has. That's crazy. We're almost at Nickelback status. Almost.
But the fact that you have been on and with us for over 100 episodes now is pretty
Officially.
awesome. Yeah, so
Officially
congratulations.
Over 100 episodes.
Welcome to the club.
That's crazy.
I don't think you've been
That's
on
crazy.
100 episodes, but you've been
No,
with us for
definitely
100
not.
episodes. So glad to have you.
So are we going for most hated podcast in the world?
Our numbers surely indicate it.
I don't know if that's most hated. I think it's most failed because according to Nickelback's numbers, most hated still sells out stadiums. We might be most failed.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
We might be just most
Jesus
failed.
Christ. Oh, my God. That is fantastic. Oh, that is good shit right there. Wow. Well, yeah, people must.
I was
might
trying to
just-
think of a good Nickelback song for that, and literally they were all good for it.
Right. People might just hate us because we're pathetic, but they hate Nickelback because they are successful.
So damn good. I know.
And Chad is
So
just
damn
he's sexy. You know you think he's
know?
sexy. Except the tips. When he did the short hair and the tip,
Ooh,
just
that was rough. Not gonna lie.
just leave the long
Rough.
hair. Be a poser. It's fine. Just it's your shtick.
What? So here's what I have to say to all this.
Okay.
I feel like Nickelback is definitely just like a representation of us. I think we can relate to Nickelback. I think people who hate Nickelback hate them because they want to relate, because you're like, damn, they're just so fucking good. Even though they're not, but they are. They're successfully not good.
Yeah.
You know? And you're like, damn, I'm not even successfully good over here. I'm not.
Yeah, like I'm
not
doing my
succeeding
job.
at all.
Yeah, I'm doing my
Yeah.
job very mediocre.
Totally.
Mediocrely? Is that a word?
Yeah, mediocrely. Yep, mediocrely. Or I'm
Mediocre.
trying real hard and not succeeding. And we're just not at the status of Nickelback. That is like, we're trying real hard and they're over here just like, we're just Nickelback selling out and being.
Yeah, and they're killing it. Yeah, and they're
formulated.
living in
Yes.
mansions, and they're literally singing songs about living in mansions.
They're killing it so much that 15 hours ago, they released a new single
Ayo!
on Twitter. Go check it out.
Check it out now.
At Nickelback on Twitter. You could probably find it in other places, but I'm stuck in 2001, so I'm still on Twitter.
There we go. I think Twitter was after.
I don't even care. It feels like old people only do Twitter with me now.
Right.
Anyways, everyone's on the IG game. That's cool. I'm sure you can find Nickelback on IG too, because why? They're persevering and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I want you people on social media. Fight me that Nickelback isn't so terrible.
So
Like, without lying to me, tell me you wouldn't listen to a Nickelback song and sing it in your car.
So after you check out at Nickelback, you can check out at the Dick Francisco on Instagram or on Twitter at I'm Dick Francisco. You can find me on Twitter at CTS Terry, but since I am in the 21st century, I do use Instagram more frequently. And so you can find us there at Catch the Sky Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, wherever by searching for the Catch the Sky Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe. That way you'll be notified whenever we drop a new episode, which is usually Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you follow us on Instagram, you should get access to our episodes earlier than that. And if you follow Nickelback on Instagram, you'll be notified whenever they drop a hot new single. So
Yeah, like they just did 15 hours ago, and they have a new album, I think, coming out on the 18th of November.
Nice. All right, so I know what I'm doing after this episode.
Yeah.
And
can I add one parting thing to this that I think is really important?
Oh, absolutely.
If you're gonna be so hated, you should just you go all out.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we were remiss to point out was that Nickelback lands on the list, I believe, by the CIA. If nothing else, they've been implored to use it. But also the Canadian police in different departments have used Nickelback as a torture method for prisoners, and specifically in Canada used to force drunk drivers to listen to it on their way to jail.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I think if you're gonna be hated, and you're gonna go, you're gonna be the most hated, that is a feather in the cap.
Absolutely.
If the CIA is willing to use your music to torture detainees, yeah.
So I will add that you are not remiss to point it out if you did point it out. But we will not torture our listeners with Nickelback to end the episode, and we will give you the soothing sounds of Emby Alexander, as we always do. So thank you for tuning into this episode, and until next week, keep trying to catch the sky.